我们上次这个我还记得，就是我上次特意留在这个地方就比较好。这一次现在我就知道我是谁，我在哪，我要干嘛。上次我们是刚刚揭开了邪教这个怀疑他们和这个裂缝有关系，然后是德凡特那边来的，特别大的一件事情。如果我上次停在了一个不知道到哪的地方，我就惨了。这其实更像是 ARPG， 不是那种 TRPG。龙腾世纪从来都不是，我觉得。像1代虽然是 CRPG， 但是从2代开始，其实它就是越来越。
When there was no earth, you were the earth. When there was nothing, you were everything.
开会，我回来了。看一下。
Chancellor Roderick came to speak with me.
安定民生。
If I offend the man so easily, perhaps he should try leaving me alone.
协助贵族，我们先等一下。任务报告：安卓斯特的秘藏，这些符文是阿拉马里人留下的，他们是属于近1000年前居住在费罗登的人类部族。更有意思的是，这些符文全部无法翻译成可直接阅读的文字，也就是说，他们都是加了密的。据译者们说，提及守护者的符文，这个是 Warden， 提及应该是吧的符文，同时也指示了一座位于北方海岸的岛屿，这很不寻常。我们将继续翻译工作，希望我们能进一步缩小范围。先让我回顾一下这些事情。给比昂卡的礼物，他们找到了普罗维登特，他在圣法冲突后，在一个富有的内瓦拉赞助人那里寻求庇护。我们向他简要描述了比昂卡，于是普罗维登特调整了他的板簧稳定器的设计，来更好的适配弩柄。我们也得到了他的原始设计，用于改进我们自己的工程机。这个营地外面就停着几架工程机，瞄准镜2级。为造物主服务，效力审判庭来证明奥莱伊骑士们的勇武实属荣耀。我全心全意接受您的慷慨提议，我会带着忠于我的部下们一起准时到达。能够指挥审判庭的军队与那些想要破坏帝国秩序人进行神圣战争是我的荣幸。我主眷顾吕德德让加斯帕勋爵。审判庭在刚刚成了个形，建立一个组织就和组建一支军队一样。你得招募士兵，配上武器，每天。我怎么觉得它远比1代好看啊？雷迪安娜比1代好看，不知道到哪去了。我以为它整了个容。就和组建一支军队一样，你得招募士兵，备上武器，每天提供伙食。这只是个开头。我加入审判庭的时候就知道，我为你们贡献自己的力量。我手上有几份徽位条约。上面写着，徽卫可以在必须时期取走必要之物。虽然我们面对的不是温潮，但被撕裂的天空严重程度无异于日，相信各位考虑一下。利用条约记住人们对徽卫的善意，为审判庭获得人。约瑟芬。我们现在在进行战略部署。这是审判这一代加的一个系统，就是战略部署。你可以派其他人去完成任务，这样子就不是说所有事情都是你亲力亲为。毕竟我们随着让加斯帕出局，卡拉琳娜或莫尼特几乎肯定会成为下一任吕德女公爵。随着斗争的加剧，卡拉琳娜派出特工制造丑闻，断定莫尼特无力应对这种手段。莫尼特平时一直是仰赖他在教会中的导师瑞内特圣母来请求稳固他继任资格的方法。请教，如今这位崇高圣母为了保护莫尼特，派出了雇佣兵威胁卡兰。 卡拉琳娜玩过了头，给他特工泄露更多信息，可以反过来利用他。雷迪安娜。 教会仍存。向大教堂派出审判庭士兵提供保护，也能提醒教士。
To work?
选择与法师合作会让你无法与圣殿骑士们共事。这是2选1了，当然我肯定是要选法师这边。 赤崖城堡和能够封上烈渊的法西们现在都处于魔导师格里安亚历克修斯的控制之下。亚历克修斯是一个兽法师邪教徒，他对特里维廉有一种不正常的兴趣，而且还拥有打乱时间的能力。他已经热情邀请特里维廉独自一人前往赤崖城堡谈判，这显然是个陷阱。但雷利安娜的手下可以趁着亚历克修斯分神谈判时潜入城堡并消灭兽法师们，这是一步险棋，但也是我们最好的机会。出发。
We don't have the manpower to take the castle. Either we find another way in, or give up this nonsense and go and get the Templars.
Redcliffe is in the hands of a Magister. This cannot be allowed to stand.
The letter from Alexius asked for the Herald of Andraste by name. It's an obvious trap.
So we've heard from Magister Alexius. I expected as much.
And yet some of us want to sit and do nothing. Not this again.
Redcliffe Castle is one of the most defensible fortresses in Ferelden. It has repelled thousands of assaults. If you go in there, you'll die. And we'll lose the only means we have of closing these rifts. I won't allow it.
And if we don't even try to meet Alexius, we lose the mages and leave a hostile foreign power on our doorstep. Even if we could assault the keep, it would be for naught. An Orlesian Inquisition's army marching into Ferelden would provoke a war. Our hands are tied.
The Magister
has outplayed us.
We can't just give up. There has to be something we can do.
We cannot accept defeat now. There must be a solution.
联系对啊，赤牙伯爵被他弄走了，把他弄回来，行不行？
Where is the Earl of Redcliffe? I'm sure he'd help us get his castle back.
那个提
After
根
he was displaced,
对
Artigan rode straight for Dunrim to petition the crown for help. I doubt he'll want our assistance once the Ferelden army lays siege to his castle. Wait. There is a secret passage into the castle.
那个
An escape route for the
啊，
family.
起源那
Too
个
narrow for our troops, but we could send
不会吧
agents through.
Too risky. Those agents will be discovered well before they reach the Magister.
That's why we need a distraction. Perhaps the envoy Alexius wants so badly.
Focus their attention on Trevelyan, while we take out the Tevinters. It's risky, but it could work.
Fortunately, you'll have help.
This man says he has information about the Magister and his methods, Commander.
啊，那个人
Your spies will never get past Alexius's magic without my help. So if you're going after him, I'm coming along.
The plan puts you in the most danger. We can't in good conscience order you to do this. We can still go after the Templars if you'd rather not play the bait. It's up to you.
悄声耳语。选人，他是必带的。那接下来我们选 Varric， 以及等等，他是个什么呀？多利安是个法师。多利安是个法师的话，算了，我还是带索拉斯 Varric。 带2个法师，一个盗贼，一个战士。
Announce us.
The Magister's invitation was for Master Trevelyan alone. The others must wait here.
They have to accompany me. You wouldn't deprive me of my attachés, would you?
弹头这头好光滑，这反光。
My Lord Magister, the agents of the Inquisition have arrived.
My friend, it's so good to see you again. And your associates, of course. I'm sure we can work out some arrangement that is equitable to all parties.
Are we mages to have no voice in deciding our fate?
Fiona, you would not have turned your followers over to my care if you did not trust me with their lives.
If the Grand Enchanter wants to be part of these talks, then I welcome her as a guest of the Inquisition.
朵拉斯赞。
Thank you.
The Inquisition needs mages to close the breach, and I have them. So, what shall you offer in exchange?
I'd much rather discuss your time magic.
I'm afraid I have no idea what you mean.
He knows everything, Father.
Felix, what have you done?
You wanted me here. Why?
Do you know what you are? You walk into my stronghold with your stolen mark, a gift you don't even understand, and think you're in control. You're nothing but a mistake.
If I'm a mistake, what exactly was the breach supposed to accomplish?
It was to be a triumphant moment for the Elder One, for this world.
Father, listen to yourself. Do you know what you sound like?
He sounds exactly like the sort of villainous cliché everyone expects us to be.
Dorian, I gave you a chance to be a part of this. You turned me down. The Elder One has power you would not believe. He will raise the Imperium from its own ashes.
The Elder.
That's who you serve. The one who killed the Divine. Is he a mage?
Soon he will become a god. He will make the world bow to mages once more. We will rule from the Boric Ocean to the frozen seas.
You can't involve my people in this.
Alexius, this is exactly what you and I talked about never wanting to happen. Why would you support this?
Stop it, Father. Give up the Venatori. Let the Southern Mages fight the breach, and let's go home.
No. It's the only way, Felix. He can save you.
Save me?
There is a way. The Elder One promised, if I undo the mistake at the temple.
I'm going to die. You need to accept that.
Seize them, Venatori. The Elder One demands this man's life.
雷利安娜下来，他们的人来。
Your men are dead, Alexius.
You are a mistake. You should never have existed. No!
Blood of the Elder One. Where'd they come from?
什么情况？ 我怎么就2个人了？ 我人呢？我靠！我这整整10天没玩，我都忘了怎么操作了，已经。天，我都不知道该怎么打。我要熟悉一下，重新。
The closest confluence of arcane energy.
The last thing I remember, we were in the castle hall.
Let's see. If we're still in the castle, it isn't. Oh, of course, it's not simply where, it's when. Alexius used the amulet as a focus. It moved us through time.
Did we go forward in time or back? And how far?
Those are excellent questions. We'll have to find out, won't we? Let's look around, see where the rift took us. Then we can figure out how to get back. If we can.
What was Alexius trying to do?
I believe his original plan was to remove you from time completely. If that happened, you would never have been at the Temple of Sacred Ashes or mangled his Elder One's plan. I think your surprise in the castle hall made him reckless. He tossed us into the rift before he was ready. I counted it. The magic went wild, and here we are. Make sense?
There were others in the hall. Could they have been drawn through the rift?
I doubt it was large enough to bring the whole room through. Alexius wouldn't risk catching himself or Felix in it. They're probably still where and when we left them. In some sense, anyway.
Alexius mentioned an Elder One in the hall. Do you know who he was talking about?
Leader of the Venatori, I suspect. Some magister aspiring to godhood. It's the same old tune. Let's play with magic we don't understand. It will make us incredibly powerful. Evidently, it doesn't matter if we rip apart the fabric of time.
这几句话怎么感觉像对上了破碎空间啊 ？House Baroom， 哈哈，把时间构造撕碎了。他们是把空间构造撕碎了，不过。
You have a plan to get us back, I hope.
I have some thoughts on that. They're lovely thoughts, like little jewels.
我要在龙腾4出之前把龙腾审判打完的。或者说，在我玩龙腾审判龙腾4之前，因为我觉得我打不完了。实际上，我今天，我的暗域幻想的典藏版，我这边有红色的 Lyrium， 我暗域幻想的典藏版已经到了，但是我没法玩，因为我没有时间。暗域幻想的典藏版就在我旁边的箱子里放着，能怎么办？我好不容易把破碎空间打完了。我要立刻马上潜到继续老滚5吧，实际上是在游戏里来说，真正觉得啊也行，就是老滚5。在老滚5之前一直都很难玩进去，老滚5之后，像博德3什么的，也的龙腾也都玩过来，也没什么。哇，红色 Lyrium 可不能乱碰。我应该往哪里走呢？其实这两边应该是一样。上方牢房，我靠！哎，血，这地上有血魔法的标识，但是另一边为什么是的呢？这边是死路，这是老游戏。
Alexius has made a dreadful mess of this place, hasn't he?
I didn't see this part of the castle. It was covered in the tackiest carvings of wolves and dogs I'd ever seen. This is not an improvement.
恶毒法杖。他点的是什么呀？哦，13个他没点呢，还。灵能系、风暴系、烈焰系、寒冰系。灵能系。灵能系是属于驱魔、护体。闪电系。烈焰系，我不知道为什么总感觉他应该点灵能系，这个多利安啊，我们就给他点灵能系吧。冷却时间减少，维持更久，优雅赋能，驱魔。增加自己的法术伤害和屏障生命，可以削弱受影响的敌人的魔法攻击力。每一个被你精神震爆攻击到的敌人都会增强魔法屏障的强度，将他们痛苦转换为力量。魔法屏障为目标提供额外的生命条。精神震爆移除所有负面影响。灵体之力。这个是复活，保护倒下后恢复，不再永久复活队友。相反啊，这个好有意思哦！我靠啊！龙腾世纪前2座没有这个，我记得。在战斗中丧失意识的队友只会被复活数秒，但是在期间以更强大的战，这个非常 interesting 啊！伤害加成200%，额外攻击速度10秒，拉起来10秒钟，哈哈。这 ，what？ 但是我还是选这个吧，靠！我觉得这风险有点高啊。对，这个新汉化就是刚出的。品蓝，他怎么用的这个东西啊？靠 ，Come on， 当然是用这个了。我希望来得及，这当然是我最希望的事情。但是实际上我的暗域幻想已经推了，暗域幻想就没办法，暗域幻想只能等龙腾4结束以后才能玩。我们来试一下它这个法，秘法屏障。保护，等会儿战斗的时候再试。主要是我现在忘了怎么操作了，有点。哎，你又是谁？我靠，他的眼睛是红色的，他已经被这个红色利刃腐化了。疯了，在红色利刃附近待太久，暴露太久，基本就完了。 这个人甚至死在了红赤歌经里面。过来吧你！他怎么总给我搞2条路？哈哈，他总给我搞2条路，我强。对啊，什么时候长？真的是赤牙堡。得石，什么东西？菲欧娜啊，他被侵蚀了！我靠，天！
Is that red lyrium growing from your body?
The hell?
How?
The longer you're near it, eventually you become this. Then they mine your corpse for more.
Can you tell us the date? It's very important.
Harvest Mir. 942 Dragon.
942? Then we've missed an entire year.
那是未来的1年啊！不是。
We have to get out of here. Go back in time.
Please, stop this from happening. Alexius serves the Elder One, more powerful than the Maker. No one
more powerful than the Maker.
And lives.
I promise. I will do everything in my power to set things right.
Our only hope is to find the amulet that Alexius used to send us here. If it still exists, I can use it to reopen the rift at the exact spot we left. Maybe.
Good.
I said, maybe. It might also turn us into paste.
You must try. Your spy master, Leliana. She is here. Find her. Quickly. Before the Elder One learns you're here.
Red lyrium is an infection. Maker, why is it coming out of the walls? Are you sure you want to find out?
啊？他的意思，这墙里面都是尸体吗？难道很多地方？我靠！如果是一种感染，为什么会从墙里出来？如果是一种人体感染，为什么会从墙里出来？ 细思恐极，难道这些墙里面怎么还哼上歌了？这？ 哎 ，Varric 啊，他也被侵蚀！天哪
！Where were you? How did you escape? We didn't escape. Alexius sent us into the future.
Everything that happens to you is weird.
这应该就是失去了这2个人以后，他们没能控制住那个 Alexius， 然后就。
You don't look so good, Varric. What happened?
Bite your tongue. I look damn good for a dead man.
You're no more dead than we are.
The not dying version of this red lyrium stuff? Way worse. Just saying.
We get to Alexius, and I just might be able to send us back to our own time. Simple, really.
That may not be as easy as you think. Alexius is just a servant. His Elder One assassinated the Empress and led a demon army in a huge invasion of the South. The Elder One rules everything. What's left of it, anyway. Alexius is really not the one you need to worry about.
I promise you, Varric. We'll make sure none of this happens.
I'm pretty sure you're crazy. Or I'm crazy. Either way, it's a nice thought. You want to take on Alexius? I'm in. Let's go.
入队，虽然不太对劲。
Is someone there?
Solus 也一样。
You're alive. We saw you die.
The spell Alexius cast displaced us in time.
他每次见一个人都要解释一遍。
Can you reverse the process? You could return and obviate the events of the last year. It may not be too late.
Dorian thinks we can go back to our own time if we find Alexius.
That makes sense. He sent you. He would be the key. This world is an abomination. It must never come to pass. We'll have to go up. I've heard the guards saying that Alexius barricaded himself in the throne room.
这边没有地方能去。Fine。我靠，什么鬼声音？我还要找到雷利安娜呢，话说。
Undone. We must focus on Alexius.
Well, the gang's all back together. What could go wrong now?
The gang's all back together.《守卫宿舍》。地上爬的全是虫子，我靠！亲神倒戈，赞美他之名，他崛起自黑暗；赞美他之名，他尽摧为光明；赞美他之名，他曾行过京城；赞美他之名，古龙神已经不在，造物主从未诞生，新神已在我们间降临；赞美他之名。他们在吃的是什么东西？鳗鱼吗？看起来。看起来是一种长条形的鱼。幼龙鳞。想象一下这个地方的气味。加4魔法防御。 这物件。索拉斯，我真的不想给他头盔，因为这样就不好看了。啊，不是，我给了他这个，我看错了。哦，是多利安没给。但是法师这个法师就是不应该用这个的，我就觉得不行不行，法师还是日旧外套，仅限盗贼啊，这还是那这个了。墙上还有被插死的。
Here, let me try.
这个是骨头灯还是骨头什么也长成歌精？放着琴。画的。这是一个人，没错，这个人也长成。亚历克修斯一直在催我们派人去城墙上巡逻，要我说啊，就是在浪费时间。审判庭的军队在老早以前就在工程师化为肉酱了，费罗登也发动了3次围城，结果是全军覆没。城外还有什么东西能威胁到我们？那些山上的蛮子吗？但亚历克修斯似乎还是觉得有人会进攻，这家伙完全疯了。不过最好还是派点人在城墙里放哨，那些狗屎猎蜥每天都在争夺，这样最好。趁我们还能分出人去当血祭的祭品，不受束缚的恶魔已经杀光了城堡里、村子里，还有周围荒野的每一个不穿盔甲睡觉的人。现在到哪里都是不受控制的恶魔。好家伙！这个旗帜是2条，这是什么蛟龙的旗帜？肯定不是赤牙的旗。难道是这个亚历克修斯他们的？哦，问世，这搞得跟那个莫拉格巴尔的暗毛一样。我靠，这人这头上被弄了什么东西？我的天 ，What the fuck！
The Elder One has taken all that is his and will soon rule from his city. That still doesn't make him a god.
What?
There is no god but the Elder One. The Maker is dead. Say it.
I'm surprised they left her alive this long. Poor woman.
天。我一开始还以为是雷利安娜呢。
How did Trevelyan know of the sacrifice at the temple? Answer!
Never.
雷利安娜，雷利安娜。我的天，怎么成这样啊？
I will die.
这怎么回事儿？
Or you will. You're alive.
天。
You're safe now.
Forget safe. If you came back from the dead, you need to do better than safe. You need to end this. Do you have weapons? Good. The Magister's probably in his chambers.
You aren't curious how we got here?
No.
Alexius sent us into the future. This, his victory, his Elder One, it was never meant to be.
I need to find Alexius and reverse the spell.
If we can get back to our present time, we can prevent this future from ever happening.
And mages always wonder why people fear them. No one should have this power.
It's dangerous and unpredictable. Before the breach, nothing we did.
Enough. This is all pretend to you. Some future you hope will never exist. I suffered. The whole world suffered. It was real.
What happened while we were away?
Stop talking.
I'm just asking for information.
No, you're talking to fill silence. Nothing happened that you want to hear.
Find Alexius. I'm sure he'll be in the nicer part of the castle, if there is one.
Yeah. Come on. Come on.
That hurt.
不行，必须自己做表格。我做表格不是为了表格，我是为了图表。我是为了用那个数据能总结出一切我想要的数据。比如说，具体到某一年我玩游戏和某一年我给他们的综合评分是多少？我哪一年对于某个特别发行商 或甚至说细化到，比如说对于 EA 这个发行商，在过去的10年里，每一年我对它的评价是怎么样，等等这些数据我也都要，所以我必须自己做图表，否则我没法拿到自己要的东西。某一家工作室，甚至某一个制作人，这些东西以后还能被用来给大语言模型，让它给我总结东西出来。裂缝还在出现，到现在为止。这雕像是一个比一个离谱，靠，这什么玩意儿？
The Magister needs more power for his rituals.
No! Let me, Linnea. You...
What the fuck?
This is madness. Alexius can't have wanted this.
这血魔法。总算重见天日了。
The breach.
我操！
It's everywhere.
The veil is shattered. There is no boundary now between the world and the fade.
这就是会发生的事情啊！如果影杖被打碎，恶魔随便行走人间。Come on, fuck！ 个人呢？现在其实是。 上层贵宾厢房。
I am not a child. I can resist you. I am you. 最后一条记录都没有用，我试过无数次，想要回到圣法和会之前，回到菲利克斯的车队被暗翼袭击之前，回到兽法师抵达明日索斯之前，无一成功。烈渊的存在才能使这种魔法有可能实现，而穿越到烈渊不存在的时间段毫无可能。长生者命令我改变圣法和会上发生的事情，但这不可能成功。他大概会因为我让他失望了而杀了我的，但是我得防着他的怒火牵连到菲利克斯。难道是菲利克斯相当于像那种加入了灰袍守卫者一样，所以他的生命才只有30年？因为如果被暗翼袭击了以后，他应该指的是这么，起码会是 What the fuck？ 这康纳
Connor! It was an act of courage. He knew there was no other way to resist.
What a terrible waste.
步骤师的日记。时间魔法每失败一次，魔导师就变得越发偏执多疑。也许并非他偏执，只是因为长生者真的会因为他失败而要了他的命。他究竟疯没疯根本无关紧要。在第10次尝试失败后，只要他醒了，他就会把自己锁在大厅里。20次失败后，他让士兵不知道从哪里把那扇碎片大门挖了出来，煞费苦心装在城堡里。现在就连他最信任的助手们也只能在一起求见时才能见得到他了，因为我们就1-2天给他带饭的时候，因为他现在都离不开那个房间了。这雅堡又到处都是恶魔了，天！起源的时候就是那次到处都是恶魔。Here we go again.
What became of Felix? Do you know?
Yes, I know.
And you're not going to tell me?
You'll find out soon enough.
这个裂缝是不能削弱的。
Got to love what Alexius has done with the place.
瑞克到现在还能在这里讲笑话呢。Varric Bianca, Varric Bianca, Varric Bianca.
What in Andraste's name is that? Hold on to it. I want to look at it later.
卡珊德拉反对。
That enchanter quickly.
哦，可恶，满了。
What happened here?
Venatory decorating at its finest.
They haven't noticed us yet. Good opportunity to look for higher ground.
Enchanter!
Sorry for interrupting your dinner.
是兔猪呢？我想是吃兔，不会是吃战鳌吧？ 鬼知道这帮恶魔吃什么啊？不是这帮兽法师。桌上还放了山羊角。这牙真是完全变了个样子。哎，这里有个门。赤牙厨房。
Want me to handle that?
该喝完再用补给箱的，做了个非常错误的决定。哦，这是刚才这个地方。重击。温毒使囚犯感染温毒的后果并不一致，疾病进程因人而异。哪怕我们用尽手段，仍有部分受试者在实验数小时内猝死，而其他受试者却完全没有任何异样迹象。如有抵抗力，囚犯血液只能为延缓躯体腐坏的速度略微。从活体身上取下的健康组织再移植进感染者体内后，往往会在被温潮感染之前就死亡。移植成功腐化会在移植过来的供体组织上，甚至比宿主身体成得更快。迄今为止，囚犯雷利安娜是最有效的抗药血液和皮肤来源。我靠，这就是为什么他变成那样了。天。大师级波刃剑图纸啊，这是。
How much damage did Alexis' spell do?
Rifts tore apart all of southern Thedas, starting here. But whether that's his doing or the breach, who can say?
这个门上是审判庭的标志。这4个门只有刚才这个没开啊。
Block the stairs!
Doesn't look like the Elder One is interested in saving his followers.
Let's head back to the main hall. I think I know how we'll open that door.
背包已满，可恶！又听到了声音。这是个像个钟表一样的啊，好，这是个机关。这是我们拿到的钥匙。 当年那个地方。
It's over, Alexius.
So it is. I knew you would appear again. Not that it would be now, but I knew I hadn't destroyed you. My final failure.
Was it worth it? Everything you did to the world, to yourself.
It doesn't matter now. All we can do is wait for the end.
I'll admit, I expected a bit more fight out of you.
Alas, I am not the foe you remember. All that I fought for, all that I betrayed, and what have I wrought? Ruin and death, that is nothing else. The Elder One comes for me, for you, for us all. Felix.
That's Felix. Maker's breath, Alexius. What have you done?
He would have died, Dorian. I saved him. Please, don't hurt my son. I'll do anything you ask.
Hand over the amulet and we let him go.
Let him go and I swear you'll get what you want.
I won the world back.
No.
No!
对， 拉不过来啊！ 裂缝。这个是拉不过来的，每次。
Wanted to die, didn't he? All those lies he told himself, the justifications. He lost Felix long ago. He didn't even notice. Oh, Alexius.
I know you cared for him.
Once he was a man to whom I compared all others. Sad, isn't it? This is the same amulet he used before. I think it's the same one we made in Minrathous. That's a relief. Give me an hour to work out the spell he used, and I should be able to reopen the rift.
An hour? That's impossible! You must go now! The Elder One.
You cannot stay here. We'll hold the outer door. When they get past us,
他已经开始结晶了。
I can't let you kill yourself for me. There must be another way.
Look at us. We're already dead. The only way we live is if this day never comes. Cast your spell. You have as much time as I have hours.
必须把这个世界给推翻掉。
Though darkness closes, I am shielded by flame. Andraste, guide me. Maker, take me to your side.
Maker shall guide my hand， 这是他在起源里说的那句话。靠
You move, and we all die.
You'll have to do better than that.
Put aside all claim to Redcliffe, and we let you live.
You won. There is no point extending this charade. Felix.
It's going to be all right, Father.
You'll die.
Everyone dies.
凡人皆有一死。
Well, I'm glad that's over with. Or not.
Grand Enchanter, we'd like to discuss your abuse of our hospitality.
Your Majesties.
When we offered the Mage's Sanctuary, we did not give them the right to drive our people from their
懂
homes.
了，
King
还有
Alistair,
阿丽
Queen
丝
Honora,
阿丽丝泰都认不出来
We
了。
never intended.
In light of your actions, good intentions are no longer enough.
You and your followers
阿丽
have
丝泰我都
worn
认不
out
出
your
来。
welcome. Leave Ferelden, or we'll be forced to make you leave.
But we have hundreds who need protection. Where will we go?
The Inquisition might be willing to take in the mages.
And what are the terms of this arrangement?
Hopefully better than what Alexius gave you. The Inquisition is better than that, yes?
They have lost all possible supporters. The Inquisition is their only remaining chance for freedom.
I've known a lot of mages. They can be loyal friends if you let them. Friends who make bad decisions, but
胡
still
局
loyal.
Daisy
It seems we have little choice but to accept whatever you offer.
全面结盟。
We would be honored to have you fight as allies at the Inquisition's side.
A generous offer. But will the rest of the Inquisition honor it?
The breach threatens all of Thedas. We cannot afford to be divided now. We can't fight it without you. Any chance of success requires your full support.
It's a generous offer. I doubt
强
you're
烈
going
反
to get a
对，
better one.
怎么回事儿？这里赞同。
We accept. It would be madness not to. I will gather my people and ready them for the journey to Haven. The breach will be closed. You will not regret giving us this chance.
It's not a matter for debate. There will be abominations among the mages, and we must be prepared.
If we rescind the offer of an alliance, it makes the Inquisition appear incompetent at best, tyrannical at worst.
What were you thinking, turning mages loose with no oversight? The veil is torn open.
We need them to close the breach. It's not going to work if we make enemies of them.
I know we need them for the breach, but they could do as much damage as the demons themselves.
Enough arguing. None of us were there. We cannot afford to second-guess our people. The sole point of the Herald's mission was to gain the mage's aid, and that was accomplished.
The voice of pragmatism speaks. Here I was, just starting to enjoy the circular arguments.
Closing the breach is all that matters.
这是
Closing the breach will require a lot of magic, and that means lyrium. I have contacts who can help.
Contacts meaning smugglers? Send them word.
Contacts
We need every advantage.
We have legitimate lyrium supply lines already.
And they don't need to hear of this. Keep it under the table, and I'll do what I can to quiet rumors. We should look into the things you saw in this dark future. The assassination of Empress Celine. A demon army.
Sounds like something a Tevinter cult might do. Orlais falls, the Imperium rises. Chaos for everyone.
One battle at a time. It's going to take time to organize our troops and the mage recruits. Let's take this to the war room. Join us. None of this means anything without your mark, after all.
Thank you. I'd be honored to help with the plan.
Meet us there when you're ready.
I'll skip the War Council, but I would like to see this breach up close, if you don't mind.
Then you're staying?
Oh, didn't I mention? The South is so charming and rustic. I adore it to little pieces.
I must admit, I'm surprised.
We both saw what could happen, what this Elder One and his cult are trying to do. Not everything from Tevinter is terrible. Some of us have fought for eons against this sort of madness. It's my duty to stand with you. That future will not come to pass.
There's no one I'd rather be stranded in time with, future or present.
这话说的跟这话说的好奇怪。
Stranded again anytime soon, yes?
I'll begin preparations to march on the summit. Make her willing, the mages will be enough to grant us victory.
OK。碧起烈焰。
The Inquisition appreciates your assistance in this matter, Lady Corbin. And my miners appreciate your business. You'll have your Illyrium by the end of the week. I should tell you, Ambassador, the Chantry raised some fuss when they learned about our arrangement. The Inquisition must certainly seem an audacious idea to the Grand Clerics. We hope to convince them it is a necessary one as well. I'll take my leave. Good day.
Who was she, Ambassador?
A merchant. I thought we should reach out to the dwarves to secure lyrium for the Inquisition's mages. According to Lady Corbin, it raised the ire of the Chantry.
How?
Access to lyrium makes us rather more formidable than anticipated. We're becoming a challenge. Sadly, the remaining Grand Clerics appear to be consolidating the Chantry's power instead of comforting the masses.
The Chantry should be a place of hope, not another group scrambling for answers.
That must be its strength again. The Chants did much to bridge nations. Little but the Chantry ties Orlais, Nevarra, Ferelden, Antiva, and even Rivain to a common cause.
Has the Chantry truly promoted such peace?
Andraste's chant is familiar across kingdoms, a source of many shared customs. That is the crucial point. Common ground is the start of all negotiations.
I suppose a shared faith can be useful when talking with strangers.
Precisely. And these similar interests are merely where we begin. We must learn to think beyond our own wants, to secure peace in Thedas.
How did someone so lovely and selfless go into Orlesian politics, Lady Montillier?
Well, that is, really, you give me too much credit. While you're here, I do have a question. The remaining Grand Clerics sent a missive inquiring about the events at the Temple of Sacred Ashes. They demand to know whether the Inquisition officially claims that Andraste saved you from the breach. If it were up to you, how would you reply?
Will my answer change your reply to the Chantry?
If Leliana, Cassandra, Cullen, and I could agree on our official stance, I could answer that. We should decide soon. The revered mothers don't seem to know what to make of you.
I don't know if a miracle from Andraste saved me any more than they do.
Yet as rumors your Andraste's herald grow, the Grand Clerics may not believe such a humble reply. A difficult situation, and I thank you for your answer. A good day to you.
Hello? Can I help you with something?
I'll speak with you later.
Travel safely. Please tell me if you find something.
Greetings.
What do the people make of us?
We've gathered many favors among the nobility. They will be gently reminded of this.
Any visiting dignitaries I should watch out for?
Lady Drummond promised a visit. She has useful resources if we can get her to set aside her games.
What are her politics?
Oh, no, I meant actual games. Chess, cards, dice, little boards with carved idols from Tevinter. She made me play that with her for 8 hours once.
8 hours.
Steer her towards cards, if she insists.
连玩8个小时游戏。
Good day to you.
还好不是电子游
What do the
戏，
people make of us?
不然眼睛都要瞎了。我有一次玩7个小时，眼睛疼。
They will be gently reminded of this.
Any thoughts on the people here?
Who did you mean?
The Iron Bull has had to have made an impression.
He is a loud, unapologetic accident merely waiting to happen. I do wish he'd stop daring poor dignitaries to outdrink him.
What do you think of Sir Blackwall?
Sir Blackwall seems as loyal to the purpose of the Inquisition as he is to the Wardens. His travels must have taken him strange places. I wish he'd speak more about them.
You must have an opinion of Dorian.
Who hasn't? The man could cause a scene standing quietly in the center of an empty room. Still, I do believe he has your best interest at heart, for all that he delights in mocking them from time to time.
I'd love to know how you and Sarah get along.
I know she extracts gossip from the servants, and she keeps prying into Sarah's ability to vanish whenever her mischiefs...
Let's speak later.
Goodbye.
I understand you were instrumental in garnering the assistance of the rebel mages. It is well done. And I pray this Inquisition fares better than the Chantry in its handling of magic.
You disapprove of something the Chantry did? Are you allowed to do that?
That largely depends upon one's company. While surrounded by those declared heretics already, I am safe enough. In some ways, Andraste had the simpler task. Magic should serve man, and not rule over him. That tells us what should be, but it does not tell us how to get there. So many times the methods of men have undone the spirit of their goals. Once you have sealed the breach, we shall see whether this Inquisition is truer to the Chantry, or its own namesake.
Can you tell me how our people are doing?
What would you like to know?
How are the villagers in Haven doing?
You did well to gain the mages to your cause. The people have hope that the breach may be sealed. Some of them are returning to the lives they fled. Others are starting fresh. In either case, they no longer believe the world as they know it is ending.
Do you have information on people elsewhere?
The refugees in the hinterlands are desperate.
但其实我已经帮了这些难民，他没有说吗？
People are vanishing in the hills. More than that, I cannot say. It is a chaotic time.
Farewell.
Make her go with you.
Magic exists to serve man and never to rule over him. Foul and corrupt are they.
If Fiona and her malcontents are joining us as allies, we need to be prepared. Abominations are inevitable. Cullen doesn't have enough Templars to handle incidents. Some of the rank and file need to be trained.
We can handle the mages. There's no need for Templars.
Have any of these men faced an abomination before, my dear? Have you? The veil is broken, and the raw power of the Fade rushes out like floodwaters through a shattered levee. In ordinary places where the veil is weak, magic is much more likely to attract demons. And if demons can walk our world with no blood magic to summon them, how safe do you think our allies are? There has never been a greater threat to mages than the breach. Until it is closed, no one is safe.
You have a low opinion of your fellow mages?
It's not so much an opinion as grasping the obvious. Magic is dangerous, just as fire is dangerous. Anyone who forgets this truth gets burned.
You're preaching to the choir, Vivian.
Tell me something. As you will no doubt have a hand in shaping it, what future do you see for mages?
Mages shouldn't be kept out of the Chantry. Who knows the dangers of magic better than a mage?
A curious idea. Such twists and turns your mind takes. It's something to consider, my dear. I met an elven mage earlier. Solus, I believe he was called. I admit I was surprised. I didn't expect to find mages among the Inquisition. Tell me, why were you at the Divine Conclave?
The war benefits no one. It must end, and order must be restored.
If only the rebels saw things so clearly. Justinia's death has shattered the balance of power in Thedas. If it is not restored quickly, countless lives will be lost. Mages, Templars, innocent people of all kinds now look to the Inquisition to decide their fate.
I'm not deciding anything.
Actions have consequences, my dear. Do not imagine that yours will go unnoticed by history. For almost 1,000 years, the world believed it was in the hands of the Maker. And now many believe you are the agent of his will. Whatever the truth is, that belief gives you power.
If that's true, then I'll put it to good use.
I suppose we'll see. I've stolen enough of your time, my dear. Don't let me keep you. Yes?
I wanted to ask you about the Circle of Magi.
Of course. What do you wish to know?
If the Circle disbanded, how can you still belong to it?
The Circle is an idea, my dear. And an idea cannot be dissolved. Many of the first enchanters voted for rebellion, caring little that anything short of a unanimous decision would pit mage against mage. Rather than dissolving it, Grand Enchanter Fiona's vote split the Circle in two. The rebels follow her, the loyalists follow me.
If you lead all the loyalists, why are you only First Enchanter and not Grand Enchanter?
Grand Enchanters are elected, and since there are no First Enchanters besides myself, no vote can be held. I could name myself Grand Enchanter, but the title holds no meaning now. When the circles are restored, that will change.
What was it like to live in a circle?
My dear, your question is the root of all problems with mages. I cannot tell you. Every circle was different. Their Templars were different, their politics unique. And every person within each tower had an experience of circle life unique to themselves. Some people suffered and some were content. Some were cruel, some compassionate, and some indifferent. The same is true of people everywhere, in all circumstances, whether they are mages or not.
So tell me about your personal experience with the Circle.
I enjoyed life in the Montsimard Circle, my dear. It was an edifice devoted to knowledge and refinement. And mages need the company of other mages. No one else can truly understand the challenges we face, nor see the world as we do.
You must have been under constant supervision, being forced by Templars to live in the tower. Was that hard to endure?
My dear, I have a suite in the palace and a wing at my dear Duke Bastien's estate. I've never been forced to live anywhere. Most circles allowed mages to live away from the tower, either on their own or in service to the nobility. All that was required was permission from the first enchanter. Some circles were harsher in their restrictions.
可恶，战争开始的地方，最糟了。
Perhaps too permissive.
科沃就是不让离开的，甚至离开有人之前不是有一个事情，就是一个人离开一晚上去酒吧都不行，都要给人抓回来。因为科沃这地方点燃了所有的事情。
How did we come to this state with the circles in revolt?
A failure of perspective that infected circle leadership. Mages lived solely in a world of Templars and mages. They could not even imagine what was beyond the tower walls. Kirkwall gave the world a reason to remember its fear of magic. A mage killed hundreds with a snap of their fingers. Across Thedas, a new tangible fear of magic grew.
我们还要去安德斯干的好
Commoners
事
and
儿。
nobles alike called out to the Chantry for protection. But the malcontents in the towers thought nothing of this. They cared only for themselves and for their anger at the new Templar restrictions. When a mage attempted to assassinate Divine Justinia again, the mages protested the investigation. The The leadership chose to vote on independence based on the intolerable conditions imposed by the Templars, sparing no thought to the fact that magic was more feared in the aftermath of these attacks than it had been since Tevinter's day. So long as they had their freedom, they could care little for riots, angry mobs, or about pitting mages against each other.
Are you familiar with Grand Enchanter Fiona?
We've met. Before her horrendously ill-timed and selfish vote for independence, I thought her adequate at her job. In her dotage, she could not handle looking after the well-being of so many people. We would have done better to replace her years ago, to let her spend time gardening.
I thought the fighting was only between mages and Templars. Why are mages fighting mages?
The vote for independence was carried by only a small margin, but Fiona chose to let the motion stand. Those who opposed a rash declaration of war against the entire free world had little choice. By breaking from the Chantry when they did, the rebels declared themselves in support of mass murder. Anyone who did not wish to support terrorism and the slaughter of innocents was forced to take arms against the rebels.
两个人说法完全针锋相对。不是，是因为他是个杀人犯，就这么简单。杀人犯必须付出代价，而且他还认为自己做的事情没有错，他也不想救赎什么。那我无法容忍。杀了几百个人，多少人是无辜的？主教尽心尽力维持城内的稳定，就被他给炸死了。我不杀他，我自己都没法面对自己。
Did they have cause to rebel?
In the aftermath of their terrorist attacks? Was that really the most opportune time to break away? By all means protest abuses by the Templars. Just don't do it in a way that says mages support wholesale murder. By voting when they did, my colleagues all but declared war upon the ordinary people of Thedas. A war in which we are outnumbered 100 to 1.
他是这样看这件事情。
Yes?
Is there anything I can do to help your efforts at restoring the Circle?
After the Circles fell, their libraries were plundered by scavengers. 1,000 years of recorded knowledge in the hands of bandits. It makes me sick to think of it. I've received news that some tomes have been located, if you are interested in righting this wrong.
I'll look into it for you.
If you can take care of this matter, the Circle would be in your debt. Yes?
I'd like to know more about you, Madame Vivienne.
Whatever would you like to know?
Your accent's not Orlesian. Where exactly are you from?
I am from the Circle, my dear. One's country of origin rarely matters there. But if you must know, I was born in Wycombe in the Free Marches. I was sent to the Ostwick Circle, but I transferred to Monsignor while still an apprentice.
I'm curious how a Circle mage winds up at court here.
Nobody winds up at court, my dear. It takes a great deal of effort to arrive there. I caught the eye of Duke Bastien de Ghislaine, an advantageous connection that opened many doors. When the position of Enchanter to the Imperial Court became vacant, I was able to secure it.
What duties does a court enchanter have?
I am tasked with providing assistance to the Empress on arcane matters. Most of my predecessors restricted them to lighting lamps and doing parlor tricks. In such troubled times as these, I provide political advice to Her Majesty on the subject of the Mage Rebellion.
说一个天天点灯的巫师突然发疯，然后现场打倒了一大堆魔导师什么的。啊，对，是一把武器的传说。然后最后什么好像是反正一个非常强的魔导师来和他打，然后消耗他能量，他就越变越小，最后就没了，只剩下那么一把武器，法杖还是什么东西，还是戒指来着。
You're married to the Duke de Ghislaine.
Of course not, my dear. Don't be ridiculous. Marriage is the business of alliance and inheritance. I'm Bastien's mistress.
婚姻是一桩交易。
And what does the Duchess de Ghislaine think of this arrangement?
We got along quite well. Duchess Nicoline and I used to host musical salons together. She was a great patron of the arts. She passed away from a fever a few years ago, the poor dear.
你们两个把这个路挡住了，有没有歌可以听？
A young man like you must get hungry.
Something like that.
今天没有歌。
Can I get you anything?
Farewell.
Goodbye.
Well, that's mages all over. So many robes. I bet all of Pharrell's I'll just be the other side of Haven, just in case.
These mages are here to aid the Inquisition. Don't worry.
Sure, don't worry. Magic up there, magic down here. What's to worry about? I mean, yay, freedom. Great for them. Over there, away from me.
What do you think about the people who have gathered?
Again with your people. Right, which ones?
What do you think about our spy master?
Liliana is pretty and plain. Now Josephine and Cullen. I suppose if you want a jackboot, you get a big one.
What about Dorian?
He's fun.
搞点塔文
Could lose
特
a bit more to Vinta.
Thoughts on Iron Bull?
He makes me wonder about things. I mean, what do their women look like?
哎，库纳利女战士，我们龙腾4里是有库纳利人女战士，就可以看看。
He's too good, right? I'd like to see him out of that uniform. Not like that.
We'll talk later.
Good, right? I'll be here. Uh-huh.
Is the Inquisition what you thought it would be?
Well, you're dragging people together. Suppose that's something. You're gonna need more trebuchets if you're going after the sky. Or, you know, ladders.
I'll be back if I need you.
Go on.
会和每个队友谈谈刚才发生的事情。
So we have gained the mages. Excellent. They should be able to seal the breach. You are certain you experienced time travel. Could it have been an illusion? A trick of the Fade?
那个是你自己可以选种族的嘛？它演示里面是。哦，你是说这哦？那我知道你什么意思，那没事。
Dorian was sure, impossible as it seems.
What an amazing gift. It is vital the Inquisition succeed to avoid the future you witness.
I'm surprised you're not more interested in your own future.
I know enough. If that future happened, then I, and Cassandra, Cullen and the rest, failed to stop this Elder One. Speaking of which, you should ready yourself.
For?
This Elder One. You have now interfered with his plans twice. Once at the Temple of Sacred Ashes, and now again at Redcliffe. A being who aspires to godhood is unlikely to ignore such an affront. Greetings.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
Greetings, goodbye. Greetings, goodbye. 升级药剂。哒哒。 研究，提升最大法力，强攻，网索之类，这是毒素手雷。
back. And in one piece.
How are your people holding up?
No one's declared me a heretic recently, so I won't complain.
How do I go about having potions made?
Just take a look there and tell me what you'd like. Perhaps another time.
The Inquisition supports free mages. What's next? Elves running Halamsharal? Cows milking farmers?
Cows milking farmers. 这。
I take it you don't agree.
On the contrary, I approve.
他其实是讽刺啊，审判庭。
I do wonder if you've considered what the support of yours.
其实龙腾的审判庭完全不是我想的那个审判庭，说实
The
话。
Inquisition is seen as an authority. You've given Southern mages license to, well, be like mages back home.
那可没到德范特那地步。
I don't believe that.
It's true. The conditions here are different. Southern mages aren't used to ruling. Thing is, the Imperium was once just like the South. Templars, proper circles, all that rot. Then it changed, by inches. Not that this is reason to oppress us. Still, my homeland should be a cautionary tale, not a source of inspiration.
It occurs to me that I barely know anything about you.
Beyond my being a mage from Tevinter, you mean?
Beyond that, yes.
And beyond my being so charming and well-dressed, which is obvious to anyone.
现在龙腾4有一个特别有人气的角色，就是那个死灵法师啊，我就感觉和他有点像。龙腾4，我看到好多 Reddit 里面的人就觉得这个就像和多利安有种异曲同工之妙。那个新的那个死灵法师。哦，我看到 Reddit 里现在玩家们。我经常见到的感觉是，他们现在最喜欢的是那个 Mage Killer， 他叫什么名字来着？我忘了。
You certainly think highly of yourself.
It's true. I could be more modest, but I'd be lying. Now, what was I talking about? Ah, yes, me. I am the scion of House Parvis, a product of generations of careful breeding and the repository of its
真他妈 carefully breeding， 有人这么说。
I despised it all. The lies, the scheming, the illusions of supremacy. That's Tevinter in a nutshell, isn't it?
That's Tevinter in a
Needless to
nutshell.
say, my family was not happy with my choices.
不是，那个 Mage Killer 是那个，看一下我能不能找到。Killer 先是这个 Emerage 给人一种就是当多利安老了以后会变成什么样子的那种感觉。
Digging up a lot of buried secrets.
然后，那个是谁呀？Killer。
About Darkspawn.
这卢卡这个 Reddit 上好多人喜欢他。一代代精心版。
Generations of careful breeding.
The great families of Tevinter don't have children. They refine traits, weed out the undesirable, and promote the rest. My mother was chosen for
德凡特这么离谱，我
magic
靠！
runs strongly in her blood. Never
听起来
mind,
像
they know each other.
像那个纳粹德国的那个优生优育。
Cautionary tale that you should be careful what you wish for.
Why would your family be upset with your choices?
Because I rejected their idyllic plan. If they had their way, by now I'd be married to some unlucky girl from a powerful family. We'd live in luxurious despair, despising each other as I waited to take my father's place in the magisterium. I declined the honor, and thus it's best I'm far from home. Less of an embarrassment that way, you see.
I'm getting the impression that you don't care much for your homeland.
On the contrary, I care for my homeland a great deal. There's so much potential. Sadly, we squander it. We refuse to acknowledge how far we've fallen because pretending is easier. We pretend the Qunari can be beaten. We pretend that we're superior to everyone, even our own people. Not everyone feels that way. I don't. Sadly, we're the minority.
Why remain with the Inquisition? Why not go back to Tevinter?
I'm not exactly...
倾向
Not that it matters.
绷不
I'm
住
quite accustomed to being a pariah. It adds to my charm. I can do more for Tevinter here. If the Venatori succeed, it'll set my homeland back 1,000 years. I'm sure some magisters would disagree, but that's why we kill them.
I think I've heard enough.
That's too bad. I never tire of talking about myself.
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Ah, yes. Everyone outside the Imperium always seems quite fascinated by
4代总算可以去
why they come up with so many
Tevinter
ridiculous
看看
tales.
了，
Flying cows over
但是天上真的有奶牛在飞。
All right, that one's actually true, but the cows didn't have wings.
啊
I digress. Anything in particular you want
其实
to
我们已经知道它什么意思了。这天上不只可以有奶牛，天上可以有建筑，天上可以有城堡。我靠，我们这个提前 preview。叫什么来着 ？Veilguard， 我还在想 Dreadwolf。Tevinter， 哎，这边我们就可以第一次看到德凡那个明瑞索斯了。我最期待的部分之一就是能去明瑞索斯。
I hope Nev's as good at finding people as you claim.
She's the
Barrick.
best damn detective I've ever met. If she says she's got a lead on Solus, I believe her.
天上可不只有奶牛在飞呀，天上有城堡在飞呀。
Should we be in more of a hurry to get
我
out of here?
靠，
We don't want to look conspicuous.
这城市真的先进，不得不说。
Find Nev Gallus and stop Solus.
你看看人家德凡特的这些广告招牌都是魔法印记啊，像霓虹灯一样，那其实是魔法印记啊！我靠，这但是一样，他们的城市一样有大量的这种奴隶嘛，对对对，这些应该都是奴隶，这一点我们是有预期的。
Anyone who talks about the Imperium mentions slavery. It's the center of the slave trade.
Ah, that is true.
And? Did you have slaves?
Not personally, but my family does and treats them well.
和费罗登比，就像
Until I came south. Back home, it's how it is. Slaves are everywhere. You don't question it. I'm not even certain many slaves do.
就像某个这种美国中部铁锈州的某个小县城比业之城那种感觉。
Well, we don't have slaves in the south.
In the south, you have alienages, slums, both human and elven. The
他
desperate
说的
have
倒
no
是有
way out.
道理。
Back home, a poor man can sell himself. As a slave, he could have a position of respect, comfort, and could even support a family. Some slaves are treated poorly, it's true. But do you honestly think inescapable poverty is better?
Is that what you call it? Treated poorly?
Abuse heaped upon those without power isn't limited to Tevinter, my friend. I don't know what it's like to be a slave, true. I never thought about it until I saw how different it was here. But I suspect you don't know either. Nor should you believe that every tale of Tevinter excess is the norm.
Just how often is blood magic used there?
Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
That's what any Magister would tell you. They'd be convincingly offended by the notion too. Of course, what people call blood magic here, and what we consider blood magic, are two different things.
What's considered actual blood magic in Tevinter?
Blood magic isn't inherently dangerous. Using your own blood or that of a willing participant, what's the harm? The problem is that what's permitted only gets you so much power. And what if you need more? You always need more. That's where we get into sacrifices and demon summoning. None of that is done. Not officially. Behind closed doors, it's a different story. Real blood magic can give you an edge, a leg up against your opponents. It's safe to assume that any mage of rank does it. The rest are quietly shut out of power, to put it bluntly.
You'd think the Templars would object.
No.
I imagine they did long ago. Once, their investigations might have been sincere. Then their balls were cut off. Too inconvenient. Nowadays, only the friendless are accused. Most of them probably innocent.
There must be some mages who oppose this.
Of course. I do. And I'm not entirely alone. Occasionally, there'll be a Magister who makes noise. And then the reform talk begins. All very patriotic. Meanwhile, that Magister will be quietly shunned. Chances are, surprise, it's learned he was a Maleficar all along. Most learn to keep quiet. Me?
社会弃儿的路上一路
I
飞
enjoy
奔。
the allure.
靠！
It seems strange that an entire empire would be ruled by mages.
I find it strange that your mages don't rule anything at all. Actually, the fiction in the Imperium is that mages don't rule. The Magisterium rules. That Magisters are all mages is considered a convenient technicality.
What is the Magisterium exactly?
The upper house of the Imperial Senate, and the only part worth having a seat on. Those seats are split among the circles of Magi, the Chantry, and the major families. All mages now. It's odd that outside the Imperium, you use Magister like it applies to every Tevinter mage.
If you're not a Magister, then what are you called? No special title?
I'm an Altus, which is almost as good as a Magister, depending on who you ask.
I've never heard of an Altus.
Upper class. Those families who trace descent from the Dreamers, the first prophets of the old gods. If you're a mage and you're not Altus, then you're later, lower class. If you're not a mage at all, you're Soperati. That's everyone else. We do love our fancy words.
也就是说，别人任何德凡特的人，一般听了说德凡特法师都管他们叫魔导师，其实是不正确的。人家只是有一部分人是魔导师，其他人有别的身份。
I thought the Archon ruled over the Imperium.
Well, yes. Technically, he can overrule laws passed by the Magisterium, but that never happens. Even so, he gets to appoint new Magisters, which means all the families vie madly for his favor. Thus, the Archon gets invited to all the parties. The truest path to Tevinter influence, let me tell you.
If it's a fiction, that means mages do rule then.
Yes and no. Let me put it this way. Mages do rule, but not all mages are equal. If you're not from the right family, chances are you don't rule anything. Maybe you're even a slave. The idea that anyone could be a mage, however, keeps the masses placated.
Can anyone be a mage?
Technically. The potential runs mostly in bloodlines, but it's been known to happen. More importantly, commoners believe it can. Tevinter legend is chock full of mage heroes from humble origins. So they hold out hope. Someday my son or my son's son will be a mage. Someday. Poor sods don't realize that means he'll be a quaestor at the arse end of the 100 Pillars, at best.
百处风铃.
Being a quaestor isn't a good thing.
I imagine the average non-mage likes to think so. Counting numbers and shuffling papers all day is better than many occupations after all. If you're a second-class citizen among a pack of piranha, however, your outlook changes.
Let me ask you something else.
Of course.
There's an Imperial Chantry, isn't there? With its own divine?
You people aren't supposed to talk about the Black Divine, huh?
黑衣圣者，白
If you
衣
mention
圣
him
者，
outside the Imperium, people make
当众小
like
便。
you're urinating in public. But yes, we do have the Chantry, or a version of it. Night and day comparing it to yours.
德凡特就真的很 intriguing， 就是因为它很特别，导致而且它一直都没有揭幕，就一直有一种很想去了解更多的想法。耐人寻味这个词讲应该。
Is the Imperial Chantry so different from ours?
Not inferior. The main difference is in the whole magic is meant to serve man, not rule over him business. Back home, ruling the unwashed masses is serving them, for the good of the Imperium. Perhaps it started with good intentions, but these days it's academic. The circles are in command.
There are circles of magi in the Imperium.
We don't have dismal little mage prisons.
气氛惨淡凄凉的法师小监狱，靠！
We have Templars as well, but they don't cancel spells or whatever your Templars do. They're soldiers. They watch for abuse of magic, yes, but only those who are weak or who fall out of favor get dealt with. Mostly they enforce the Magisterium's edicts. The Chantry smiles and nods from the sidelines.
Do you really call him the Black Divine?
We don't call him that, oh no. In the Imperium, he's the true divine. The woman sitting on the sunburst throne is some backwater pretender. It all stems from a disagreement over Andraste. Marvelous, isn't it?
Why would they disagree over Andraste?
It's not my field of expertise, but the Imperium believes Andraste was a mortal woman, a mage. Down south, they say, no, she's the bride of the Maker, ascended to his side, divine provenance, blah, blah, blah. We feel better believing Andraste was one of us. Makes executing her less damning, you see. So we elected a man as divine, the South declared war, and we've been feuding cousins ever since.
一强兄，不是这件事让我很就是大家不知道大家有没有这种感觉？比如说你刚学了一个字，你刚学了一个词，然后这个词就开始在你的生命中，在你的生活中出现，但你以前感觉自己从来没遇到过这个词。这个细强兄弟，我前几天在打破碎空间里面的支线任务叫细强之下，在此之前我都感觉我没见过这个字，我感觉是我第一次见这个字，然后现在就来了，我靠！应该就是我以前见到的时候都把它忽视掉了，真的又遇到这种事情。
So the Imperial Divine is always a man.
All the better to distinguish him from that other one, yes. Don't think there aren't a number of female magistes who bristle at that. Why can't they be divine after all? Same reason you never see a man on the sunburst throne. Because that's how
祖宗之法
it's
不可变。
Excellent reasoning.
祖宗之法不可变。
Do you consider yourself Andrastian?
The big question. It might surprise you that I do consider myself Andrastian. I simply do not believe in the Chantry. It is a relic, whether back home or here in the south. Something from a bygone age desperately clinging to relevance. It's not an opinion that makes me popular.
I'm not surprised. It's not an opinion you should share.
You did ask, if you will. I'll say this. I may not believe in the Chantry, but I believe in you.
In me?
That the Maker sent you, whether through Andraste or fate. Cassandra is not wrong. You are what we needed most at the moment we needed it. That's what they will say in ages to come.
I'm not sure about that myself.
Doubt is good. I like doubt. It will keep you sane. Me? I've seen too much to believe I know everything. The world is bigger than I. Even bigger than you. It laughs at all the things we think we know. The Maker doesn't need me to believe. But I do. The thought of no one at all watching out for us is too frightening.
Let me ask you something else.
So many questions.
So many questions.
If the Imperium would be a useful ally.
I'd think you'd be more concerned whether or not they'd support the Venatori. They won't. At least, not officially. They'll disavow all knowledge of dangerous cultists. Secretly, many Magisters will rejoice at the idea. And if the South falls to chaos in the meantime, all the better.
在龙腾4的宣传片里，我们看到了 Venatoris 和这个 Varric Harding 以及新主角 Roke 打架的战斗的那个场景，所以他们还在，而且他们还在阻挠主角团的行动。
It would be in the Imperium's best interest to help. Surely it could use allies.
I think the Imperium gave up on the idea of allies a long time ago. We've been fighting the Qunari for what, 200 years off and on? It's a point of pride that we go it alone. They'll sneer at the South behind their silk handkerchiefs and say, "You've had it easy for far too long." Let's not forget that the Inquisition seems to be an arm of the Orlesian Chantry. Anathema so far as they're concerned.
That's all I wanted to know.
Fair enough.
Have you gone to see Alexius yet? He's in the cells.
Not yet, no.
原来地牢派上用场。
He looked despondent, broken. Not the man I remember, nor the one I want to. I suppose the Inquisition will judge him eventually. I wonder if there's any chance they'll show him mercy. He hardly deserves it, but for Felix's sake. I can't help hoping there's something left of the man I once knew. Did you know we're actually related, Inquisitor?
Related?
Huh?
Not first cousins or anything like that. Can you imagine? You're a Trevelyan, however, and somewhere in dank nethers of my family tree, there was also a Trevelyan. Perhaps he was even the one who ventured to Ostwick to establish the branch. We are talking long ago, of course.
You know that off the top of your head?
Not the top. Maybe the lower middle or thereabouts. Bloodlines are serious business in Tevinter. You're taught lessons and tested by strict nannies. I heard your family mentioned, and I had to go through all the old mnemonics, but yes.
注记可以啊。
I knew there was a reason we looked so much alike.
I learn something new every day.
Nice, isn't it? Like being at a quality library, provided you're not the one stocking the shelves.
I'd like to ask you about
还能问？没什么可问的了。
Anything specific?
That's all I want.
Fair enough.
I should...
Naturally. Here we are again. Try not to kill anyone without me.
这是他的房间了，好几个人的房间。 军需清单。
Can I help you with something?
Your open support for the mages likely earned you enemies. Our agents will monitor the situation. If the most opposed can be identified, we may still turn this to our advantage.
You're not planning assassinations, are you?
I was planning to unleash Josephine on them.
关门放夜色。
Regardless, I applaud you for the courage to stand up for the mages.
In Redcliffe, you sacrificed yourself so that I could return here.
Of course I did. One small life in exchange for a second chance at history. I always loved a bargain.
It was still a sacrifice, and still noble.
And I would do it again.
You seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends, and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
You seem to know Josephine quite well.
I met her a long time ago, but we didn't become good friends until years later. I just returned to Valrail, and she welcomed me back by throwing a diplomatic ball. She was the Antivan ambassador at the time, you see. The ball was... Right. Too many politicians. At midnight, Josie and I left to find a real party. We've been friends ever since.
What do you consider a real party?
It's not a real party until someone's small clothes are painted chantry board. And that's all I'm saying about it.
We can continue this conversation later.
You know where I am. Did you need something?
肯定不是正经派对就对。
Altegan has returned to Redcliffe Castle and resumed his duties as lord. The people are returning, slowly but surely. Unfortunately, our show of support for the mages has angered many.
I'll leave you to your work.
The Mage Rebellion joins the Inquisition. I've got to admit that's a twist I didn't see coming. One thing you saw in the future worries me. I mean, it was all bad. But red lyrium in Ferelden, infecting people and growing out of them, that's bad. Finding more of it really punches a hole in my red lyrium at the temple was a coincidence theory.
How long does it take for red lyrium to grow? How fast can it spread?
It took years to infect people in Kirkwall, but no one there was actually ingesting the stuff. This Elder One managed to take the worst thing I can think of and make it worse. That's an accomplishment.
We can't leave a single piece of that lyrium out in the wild.
I'm with you on that. I've got people trying to find out where the red stuff came from. I think maybe we should make that a priority. But that's enough doom and gloom. You just won a big victory for the Inquisition. What are you going to do to celebrate?
I was planning to put my feet up, maybe grab a nap. You?
Whatever I do, it'll be as far from Cassandra as I can get. Things should be calm around here for at least the next hour. Take a moment to enjoy it. If the world's about to end, I'm sure the Seeker will let us know. Need something?
I want to know more about red lyrium.
I'll tell you what I can.
I think that's
A scout in the hinterland saw the Herald of Andraste. Said he sealed a rift and stopped the demons.
这每次都要再来点一下是为什么？
Anything you can spare will help.
herald of Andraste is gonna close the breach, sir.
Not a moment too soon. This little town is filled to bursting. We need to clear out of here and find some place the Inquisition has room to grow.
塞达斯的工程武器，第3次温潮时期。然而，由于条件所限，工程武器在战争装备中占据了一个极为特殊的位置。凡是希望建造投石机或弩炮的军队，都必须拥有先足量的资金和组织能力，才能保障开工。阿雷山人和蒙特西马人建造弩炮，向暗翼投射火焰弹片，但昂价的造价只造成了有限的伤害。击败暗翼大军的最终不是工程武器，而是灰尾。黑圣纪元的崇高圣战。魔导师的法术攻击不如工程武器强大的更灵活。钢铁纪元和库纳利人战争中，将军们懊恼地发现，强势的牛头人们早就在军事技术上遥遥领先。大多数军事专家认为，库纳利黑火药并不是魔法，而二代有个任务让你偷火药，它只是一种先进的炼金技术，让他们的大炮比任何投石机都更强大。后温潮时代的军事冲突，龙纪929年，第5次温潮开始前夕。阿利斯泰，两国之间冲突在新时代的延续下不可避免。塔文特社会，现实有3个不同的塔文特，每一个与另外2个完全隔绝。血统高贵、养尊处优的贵品阶级蔑视小品，小品又转过来瞧不起微品。他们为了掌权，在魔导士议会里争吵不休，残酷危险的政治斗争令议会政治派系每天上演分分合合的戏码。这时，每个家族都必须戴上完美公民的面具示人，否则面对丑闻和谴责。还有所谓的免品，所谓沉睡者，无法使用魔法的公民人数远超法师。但总要被后者的冲动与私欲摆布，许多人不安其位，私下密谋寻求改变，甚至隐秘希望自己的后代拥有魔法天赋，虚无缥缈的愿望高明地吊着他们。外国人很容易忘记塔文特有数量庞大的税吏、公务员和各级军官，还有一个巨大的商贩阶层，而国中的穷人也多到足以淹没任何其他国家。还有被称为极贼的行踪诡秘的盗贼，虽是盗贼，但其实却受人敬重。看来是那种罗宾汉。最后是奴隶，脱了奴籍的自由奴，以及近身侍奉魔导师们的奴隶，还有在农场和工厂挥汗如雨的奴隶。最后是那些操持所有普通人避之不及的建议的公共奴隶。在他们之间甚至有云泥之别，或许是效仿其主。皇国们奴隶同样也热衷于不择手段的，简直要钻破头的往上爬。外人多半会视此积极之举为徒劳，然而在塔文特人眼里，皇国的体制可以是全塞拉斯诸国之间阶级流动最通畅和最能为才德士举的。杰尼提维修士，库纳利研教官。贵族的谎言，坤道的真相。哦，没从前面看，那还是科科沃的事情。G 大人， 哦，他这边说的严教官奶妈嘛，其实就是像坤道里面，他们不理解库纳利人认为这种保姆像叫严教官，包括老师，但是在人类或者说别的社会里，奶妈只是奶妈，库纳利人都不知道为什么不听他的话。不要相信这些话。魔法乃人之仆而非人之主，在古老的塔文特王国中的解说就和他处不同。那里的教会将这条圣训理解为法师绝不应该控制他人的思想，不过除此之外可以尽所其能使用魔法为统治者服务。此事引发旷日持久的争论，直到塔纪487年，塔文特教会选出他们自己的名正清廉的圣者瓦海尔，不但是个男性，还是塔文特法环中最为显赫的成员之一。这个黑衣圣者遭到来自塔文特外的一片斥责，他的存在是对瓦尔皇城教会的一种冒犯。在进行了4次旨在驱逐叛逆者的圣战后，瓦尔皇城教会所得到战果只是明确了教会的分裂而已。这个塔文特是真强啊！这一边一开始是4次圣战都没把他打下来，然后第2次又是一个国家撑了库纳利那边撑了2个世纪，靠，真能打。734年，诺马兰以巫师身份被选为大执政官。亚里纳斯的大卫神父，魔导师。某些离国的塔文特法师在外自封该头衔，滥用魔导师名声，狐假虎威的行为造成了误导认知。事实上，成为一位魔导师是需要在皇国元老院 （Imperial Senate） 的上议院魔导师议会 （Magisterium） 取得一个席位的。这个议会是德文特制定法律的实体机构，议会同时也是会在没有被广泛认可的继任者存在时选举新一任大执政官。元老院的下议院即公议会则由被任命的公务员组成，但它没有实权，一般被认为一个官僚机构。魔导师们都出生于帝国法环、皇国法环、皇国教会，但他们的席位大多属于某位古代大执政官在很久以前赋予他们家族的遗泽。一位魔导师不一定非得是一位法师。的确，在塔文特皇国刚实现了古龙神信仰到安卓斯特信仰的转变时，大部分魔导师都不是法师身份。在高塔纪元以来，魔导师议会中的非法师一直都想错了，和他说的一样，在塔文特皇国外的人普遍的错误认知，我一直也都是。我在认真问了多利安这件事情之前，我都以为魔导师就是德凡特的法师。不是所有法师都是魔导师，魔导师也不一定是法师，只是现在所有的魔导师都碰巧是法师吧。魔导师只是个职位名，其实。一位真正的塔文特魔导师是力量的象征，其余法师都要为其效劳，而且非特定家族的法师除了自己的财富和才能以外，就没有什么可依仗的。政法合会。 妄图成神的恶魔被打下深渊，开始于他们在地中的黑幕里向人耳语。塔文特人听见了，便再为伪神筑起祭坛，作为回报，通过悄声耳语，伪神赐予他们最黑暗魔法之奥秘——悲悼颂歌511。悲悼颂歌第5章是对出现于第1章中创世故事的完整复述，很明显能看出这两章出自不同作者之手，在对灵体的本质和次罪的最终诱因上有明显的分歧。这一章将人类堕落的责任完全归咎于上古旧神，而非人性中固有缺陷使然。因此，历史学家认为这章出自一位塔文特的作者，甚至可能是执政官何萨里安本人之手。在第11节中，我们看到这一点说明更加清楚。妄图成为神的恶魔，除了上古旧神外别无他人。他们在这里不仅被认为是闯入了金之城，还将魔法奥秘赠送给了人类。也就是说，如果没有此番传授，就没有这些悄声耳语，魔法就不会存在。文学分析与成文历史，泰萨利亚修女著。泰萨利亚修女是不是起源里面我们给她那个板子让她翻译的那位修女？名字我记不太清了。吕伯宾的诗人生涯。怎么会有人敢顶替一名吟游诗人不怕被报复？你被他们侍奉的无微不至，恭敬至极，随口给自己的符交个天价，对方却连忙一口答应。如果真的囊中羞涩，他们只能低声下气的哀求你不要恼火，生怕因此倒了大霉。可是总有那一天，你会从梦里醒来，你会发现你身边那些笑容都是假的，笑容背后藏着咬牙切齿的恨意。你稍微一露出软弱，原先像手足一样友爱的同行，立刻就像猎犬一样扑向你。你这才意识到他们根本就不是你的兄弟姐妹，你这一辈子都只能说是虚度光阴，从未创造任何有用的东西。你的亲手编织的谎言之网，转眼将你整个吞没。至于你曾满心以为由你掌控的权力游戏，没有你它照样转，对你没有半点在乎。夜莺修女，吟游诗人雷利安娜曾经的生活，还有那个乔马莱尼、乔尼马莱、乔什么来着？靠，忘了名字，真的记不得，太难记了。就是说，对于这种文本量巨大的游戏，它的这个保存的这个时长，算不算你在暂停菜单里花的时间？我不确定，因为如果不算的话，它其实就会导致它和比如说 Steam 的那个统计时间差很多，因为你的有很多时候在暂停读文本。
And what are we supposed to do, exactly?
What you always do. Complain.
We've already spoken with Commander Cullen. No one listens. We want better quarters. We want the Templars kept at a distance. And some respect for...
This is not the Circle. You mages are our allies, not our wards. Act like it.
How are we supposed to...
Deal with it.
好算着。
It never ends, evidently.
You don't need to tell me that.
I just don't know who told them I'm the one to yell at.
Is it that bad?
The mages are here as equals. They need to get used to what that means. It is your doing, after all. You created this alliance.
Well, I hope it works. What other choice do we have?
Oh. I do sound like I'm blaming you, don't I? I don't disapprove. In fact, you did well. You made a decision when it needed to be made. And here we are. I wish I could say this was my doing.
嘴真甜。
You're flattering me.
I'm not. This always happens. Nobody ever takes my meaning.
You should see your face.
I'm thinking less flattering things now. Let's hope the breach has your sense of humor.
The mages are ready to approach the breach. I pray this will be enough to close it.
I know you're worried about having the mages here. Give them a chance to prove themselves.
I'm not questioning their ability or their intentions, but we cannot ignore the risks. I will not endanger the alliance you've created. We need their help. Any precautions taken will be to ensure the safety of our people and the mages themselves. Nothing more.
Is there anything I should know?
I'm glad to have the charges on our side. All's men are professionals, despite evidence to the contrary.
What do you think of the people you work with?
Who do you mean?
Are you satisfied with the Inquisition's forces?
Our numbers are small, but they suit our needs for the time being. Some Templars have joined us instead of following the Order. They've proven invaluable in training new recruits.
I should let you get back to work.
Surely you have better things to do.
I have some more questions.
Why am I not surprised?
Tell me about your brother.
I'd rather not.
I'll let you get.
还是他现在还是不是。
Magic exists to serve man and never to rule over him. Foul and corrupt are they who have taken his.
So, that Tevinter guy sent you into the future?
I've got no problem with normal magic, but Tevinter goes beyond all reason.
I know, right? The Vints are always pushing.
塔蛮子，
Anyway,
塔
none
蛮
of our
子
new。friends have what it takes to close the breach. Damn thing gives me a headache just looking at it. What's going on?
See you later, Bull.
Travel safely.
I'm glad there are big, strong men around in case anything happens here in Haven.
Now, don't you worry about that sort of thing, girl. You need something? You need something? You need something? Let me. Another time, then. Another time, then. Another time, then.
Can you help improve my arm?
Yes. You find an... You can't just slap a new hilt on your sword in the feet.
Goodbye.
Right.
Word is that the mages will be joining us here in Haven. I hope you've chosen your allies wisely, Herald.
I'd like your take on the Templar Order.
It's a shadow of what it was.
我记得我忘
Once
了。
we both One day, I hope the circles are again sanctuaries where mages can practice their craft.
黑墙跑到哪里去了？话说，咦，黑墙不在这里，居然？为什么会有一个队友不在这里？奇怪。隐秘红矿，风暴海岸。Dorian Sarah， 带几个平时不常带的。因为主线我肯定是要带那个 Very Cassandra， 还有 Solus， 所以平时这种小事情。
Nothing to report, sir.
Yeah.
这马过不去。士兵们给我找的箱子。
We've some supplies here.
你怎么不给我用？哼，这不是我的箱子吗？好家伙！
I think Blackhorn would have liked to have been here for this.
对哦，应该带。如果要找这个东西，应该带它才对。说的很有道理。 我怎么拿给他？话说，我只能在基地里吗？还是？这儿，或者
Nothing to report, sir.
第二次爆炸中燃烧。伊夫德切瓦克爵士在抗击古地的崇高圣战中使用这把弓，200米。什么声？
Good find.
他们应该还是过不去。我。是的，现在还是过不去的。他就在营地边上。 龙腾世纪审判是一个脚步声做的让我特别爽的游戏。
Got to be something here.
脚步声，有些游戏的脚步声就让人特别爽，非常难以形容到底是为什么。其实，完好的施救羽毛。支持首席巫师。
Nothing to report, sir.
审判这真的是10年前的画面。当年能玩个最高画面的多震撼啊！我都不敢想，说真的，这也太离谱了，这画面，就放到今天都很好看啊，放到今天都不怎么过时，是真的。10年前，法兰哈德根据地的地图装甲配方拿到一个。深空通道
I think the Inquisition could benefit from this.
都是灰味的东西。法环宝典。这是有龙的那个地方。这边是可以上去的，显然不是从这儿，是从这里。这。 看看赤牙现在怎么样。
This was a land of spirits and demons. Magic grows wild in the hills of Redcliffe.
Of course.
Thank you again, my friend. Thank you again, my friend.
嗯，他之前这有。书商啊，他是卖设计图的。
Chantry will step in soon enough to put a stop to this foolishness, child. You'll see.
Yes, grandmother.
Every ocularum is made from the skull of a tranquil.
I had wondered what became of those poor souls when the circles collapsed. Now we know.
Every skull was... No, done thinking about it. Done.
清修者，靠，都被做成这个了！天哪，原来外面的窥镜全是这东西，那这和碎片到底是什么关系？也就是，要是不像那个我们隐逸村里面的那个叫什么来着？反正是那个研究生物标本的，他保护了一些清修者，否则他们可能会做成这玩意儿。这船差点被我看成一只增恶的，不知道为什么。 康纳怎么不见？优耕泥沼的灰味。甚至都没能看完。
Let's look around.
没有巧手开不开这个没用，现在进不去的。现在这个是拿不了的。
This might interest you, sir. Dispatch for you.
What is it?
You may want to look at it.
费勒登历史。 费雷登历史， 推进。魔法碎片，亚历克修斯的命令相当明确，我们必须在乡下寻找更多碎片，没有他们，受法师无法获得我们主人寻求的宝藏，因此我们需要窥镜。清修者，只有当清修者非常靠近一块碎片时，强迫恶魔对其附身。清修者的头骨，我靠，这一般清修者是没法被恶魔附身，但是。天哪！该死的兽法师，清修者已经够惨了。
Those who oppose thee shall know the wrath of heaven. Field and forest shall burn.
You believe the letters Roderick's been sending out?
Come now, brother. He's doing what he feels needs to be done.
He's upset no one listens to him and wants his own candidate on the Sunburst throne.
That is very uncharitable. All of us are scrambling to react to this tragedy.
Ah, good show.
You are mad.
Yeah.
It is barely adequate.
这里也有灰，哦，这边是要给黑墙。它在这儿。
Please send Visser our thanks for the refreshments.
Heard you found something that had to do with wardens. Would have liked to have seen it. I've been meaning to thank you. There are 100 things that need your attention. You didn't have to take the time to help me, and yet you did.
The Inquisition must do many things to gain support.
Of course, you would have considered every angle, every advantage. I've never been more certain of my decision to join you.
There will be opportunities for us to do even more in the future.
Then I look forward to it.
What do you think of the Inquisition?
You already know what I think of your forces. I'm not sure what else there is to say.
You must have some feelings about our friends.
Sarah doesn't know who she is or what she wants. And doesn't even care.
What do you think of my advisors?
Josephine's lovely. And craftier than you'd expect. The Inquisition could not have picked a better ambassador.
You must have some feeling.
Sarah doesn't know who she is or...
Trusts in the Maker. Fire is her water. As the moth sees light and...
Nice work at Redcliffe. I could help the mages learn to work with Inquisition soldiers if you like. Not that the chief has any apostates in the group.
We'll talk later.
Vale holds no uncertainty for her, and she will know no fear of death. For the Maker shall be her beacon and her shield, her foundation and her sword.
He'll be an asset if we have to fight Darkspawn, at least.
今天有歌。
Once we were not afraid of the dark. Once we sat in our kingdom with hope and pride. Once we ran through the fields with great stride. We hailed the fate of the deep.
I'll keep an eye out.
Flight, so far from our children and from our lives. We hailed together the fragile sky to keep our way of life. Once we raised up our chalice in victory.
Something like that.
Once we sat in the light of our dreams. Once we were in our homeland with strength and might. Once we were not afraid of the night. We held the fate and the demon's flight. So far from our children and from our lives. We held together the
Maker, I hope it's not me.
fragile sky to keep our way of life.
Long day.
还有吗？
Find me
来了
still searching for someone to lead me.
Very well.
Can you guide me to the revolt inside me? Promise surviving.
It's good to see you.
Promise surviving the breach in the sky. Templar igniting.
Thank you.
Fire inside me. Maker remind me. Gone are the days of our peace.
What do you mean?
Now we reside in the great divide. The promise surviving the breach.
Have you seen otherwise?
It's just
别
what
谁
I
在问我？能不能来个那个 Enchanter？
Yes.
Enchanter, has come to be alive in the
说什么来什么？
of my child where we will thrive with our brothers.
Yes, sir.
Enchanters remind that time will not unwind. The dragon's crooked spine will never straighten into line. What we plead will be a faithful and decree where
A man will not retreat from the defeat of his fathers. Enchanters, the time has come for battle lines.
We will cut this knotted ties, and some may live and some may die. Enchanter, come to me. Enchanter, come to me. Enchanter, come to see.
Something like that.
Can you come to see? As you once were blind, in the light now you can see. In our strength we can rely, and history we will not repeat.
We'll see.
Enchanter, come to me. Enchanter, come to me. Enchanter, come to see. Can you come to see? As you once were blind in the light, now you can sing. In our strength we can rely, and history will not repeat. Enchanters, the time has come to be alive in the circle of magic.
Have you seen otherwise?
We will thrive with our brothers. Enchanters remind the tide will not unwind. The dragon's crooked spine will never
I'll ask around again tomorrow.
Thank you.
What we plead will be a faithful decree, where a man will not retreat from the defeat of his fathers.
Just rumors.
Enchanters, a time has come for battle lines. We will cut these knotted ties, and some may live and some may die. Enchanter, come to me. Enchanter, come to me. Enchanter, come to see. Can you come to see? As you once were blind in the light, now you can sing. In our strength we can rely, and history will not repeat. Enchanter, come to me. Enchanter, come to me. Enchanter, come to see.
You all right,
Can you come to see? As you once were blind in the light, now you can sing. In our strength we can rely, and history will not repeat.
I don't know.
太好了，太好了，太好了，太喜欢这首歌。好了，今天就播到这儿，下。